think that the main objective of Partispace is finding out what participation means if we are speaking about or with young people. So youth participation is a big issue in youth research. Young people are always measured if they follow official lines of participation like voting, being members in associations, and there's a big discourse that young people don't do that enough and they should be educated to participate more. And we think that this is a very narrow and very ideological concept of participation, and therefore we want to reconceptualize participation from what young people do in their lives, what they do in society, in public spaces, and what it means for them. We start with analyzing these dominant discourses on participation. So who says what about young people's participation, in order to identify what interests and power relations are behind these concepts and conceptualizations. And then we want to contrast this with an ethnography in 8 European cities and what young people are actually doing in public space. And we have started doing ethnography, ethnographical processes in the city where we really try to look where are different young people. We have made group discussions in schools, in youth centers, in associations. We have spoken to experts working with young people in order to see what constellations of participation do we find in different cities. From there we want to go deeper with this ethnographic research, that we want to identify contrasting experiences or examples of participatory practice from everyday life practice, like young people trying to find places where they can sit and meet in the public. This is what we call informal contexts, to non-formal contexts like youth centers or associations where young people have freedom to decide how they use the spaces and how they influence or co-determine what is going on there, up to the known formal spaces of participation like youth or student councils, like the youth branches of political parties, or the classical forms of social engagement in initiatives. And from there we go on to a participatory action research with some of these young people, that we want to involve them in researching alone or together with us in order to find out more about participation from their point of view. And doing this in 8 different cities in different countries means also doing it in different welfare states, and we want to find out what these different contexts of local policies but also welfare state policies, to what extent these contexts make a difference on how young people actually participate and find possibilities of participation. So, for researchers, of course, always it's important to, in a way, contribute to theoretical understanding of social reality. So we want to reconceptualize the concept of youth participation, and here we are rather at the beginning, that we are trying to be as open as possible to say, okay, we start from an understanding that participation always has to do something with determining one's life in a way, or trying to determine one's life in relation with others in the public space. And this means that potentially all things that young people do in the public could be seen as participation. Potentially. We have to find out. And so this is the line where we are on at the moment, and therefore we think that also we have to innovate research methodology. We cannot only measure what young people are doing and thinking of politics, but we have to look how they act in the public and relate their lives to the lives of others. These are the research contributions. For politics, I think for us it's very important, and I think we have already first findings in this regard, to really reveal the discrepancy between what policymakers think, what is important for young people, education, for example, and young people's perspectives, who are mainly concerned with surviving education, with finding niches and breaks and spaces where they are liberated from the stress of education or planning one's career and so on. So a majority of young people is really concerned with this finding niches and spaces for themselves, with their friends or alone. And so this discrepancy of the agenda, I think, is a political finding. And this accounts also for practice to sensitize practitioners that if young people do not respond to certain participation offers, it's not that they are not able to do it or not motivated, but that they have perhaps different agendas and that they need spaces to realize and set them into practice.